All right, I think we're good. Yep. Here we go. Right on. How's everybody doing? I still don't feel 100% comfortable looking at a VFR map till they get that bug fixed, but we are in Galveston, Texas, and we are going to fly from Galveston to Lake Charles, Louisiana, and we're going to fly right along the edge of Hurricane Delta. I want to see how good the weather is, and obviously we got some conditions. We're going to fly VFR so we can stay down low and essentially do whatever we want. We may get flight following. I don't know. We'll figure it out as we get going. And I do have, pardon me while I look around here, I need to get over here and then right here. We do have a button box going via Stream Deck, and then alternator is the other one. Yep, okay. And then this is avionics. Interesting, and that's bus 2. Okay, so we do have a button box going. Let's get this calm down. There we go. So first thing we'll do is get some weather going. Oh. All right. 2967, that's interesting. So we're on, oh no, we're not. Okay, it's just an odd way. Rather than 29.67, it said 2967. I thought we were on the European system. Metric. All right, 2967 here. 2967, and we want 2967 on our backup. Backup, 2967. There is 2967. And we're also going to, let me see. To the ground. IFR clearance for instrument flight plan. No, we're going to depart straight out, depart east, I guess. All right, runway 36. So you're not going to be able to see this, but I'm going to hop into Little Nav Map, which is an app I got to replace the VFR map. I'm going to hop into Little Nav Map and see where runway 36 is from me. So we want to go, how do we want to do this? Turn around to the right, and then we will cross runway 32 to 36. Okay, so forward and to the right. All right, I think we're good there. So we go back here. Let's get this thing fired up. So we'll get rid of this for the moment. Battery and alternator. Fuel is on. I've never flown this plane before, by the way. Select both tanks. I've never flown this plane before, so we may learn together. All right. Bat, alt, fuel. Is there a fuel cutoff? Nope. All right, so we're going to try it with fuel shutoff valve closed. What do we want to open? Let's try it closed first. See what we get. Here we go. Clear prop. That was easy. All right, so we want, I think we want just about every light we can find on this aircraft. Don't need that. I don't think we need a fuel pump right now. All right, and we don't have anything going on there. We can, let's dial this over to GPS just in case we want to do it that way. Wind, we definitely want wind. It's ridiculous. I think they said 50 knots is the wind at the moment, so it's going to be, we're just going to be getting slapped around, but you know what? That's what we're after. And I've also got an ILS for Lake Charles, so let's put that in now. so we're not trying to do it as we're getting to Lake Charles. So again, you won't be able to see this, but I'm going to hop out of Flight Sim and hop into Little Nav Map and go to Lake Charles. It's over here, and our ILS for runway 15 is 109.10. So we go back here and we want 109.10. This is a little bit tricky with 10. A little bit tricky with track IR. .10. Okay. All right. I think that's us pre-flighted. T&P is good. T&P is good. We're a little heavy on fuel because I don't know exactly how this is all going to work out as far as distance. It's about 100 miles, which is, I mean, this airplane has plenty of leg to make it 100 miles. But with everything, you know, with the weather and everything being what it is, who knows? So I got a little bit of extra fuel. We'll do some takeoff flaps. All right. And we have our taxi clearance, so here we go. Brakes off. I'm going to get rid of this for the moment, and let's just take a look outside and see. There's no collision, and this pushback cart, the little pushback cart, it never moves far enough away from you. After it pushes you back, it just stays right there, but there's no collision. So we're going to need to go right through this person. And then we're going to the right, and we want this taxiway right over here. All right, here we go. Yeah, 26 knots of wind right now. This is crazy. Was that us? That was us, all right. All right. Before I could even respond, they had told us to continue taxiing. All right. So yeah, we want to be right over here somewhere. I was thinking about flying the X-Cub, but I decided to fly this instead because I've never... Oh, hang on, what is this? All right. We had a warning there that we were on standby battery. I don't like that. I was thinking of flying the X-Cub. Oh man, it's a Friday. I was thinking of flying the X-Cub, but decided not to because we've flown it enough in Patagonia. I've flown it a ton in Alaska, and I wanted to, I don't know, try something different. And also the 172 is just, it's a perfect aircraft for this kind of thing. Standby battery. What is that? Alternator. Standby. There we go. Test standby battery. All right. I don't know why that was on or if it needs to be on. It says ARM standby battery. Don't know. Don't know. There's a lot of things about this game that still need to be ironed out. So it's not, I wouldn't say that it's not realistic. It's just not 100% done yet. So things like that, who knows? I'm still looking for the ice light in the Diamond DA62. I got a switch for it. It doesn't say it's inoperable. But when you activate it, nothing happens. All right, so this is where we cross runway 32. Look for traffic. Before we cross, we're going to cross runway 32, and then we're going to... All right, I don't see anything. They haven't told us to hold, so here we go. We're going to dip across here quickly. Still good. Still good. I saw some people flying in, when the game first released, oh, what is it, about a month ago now? I saw some people flying in the previous hurricanes that we had. They came up the Gulf Coast. But I feel like they were, I don't know, they were flying in the hurricanes in ways that were really kind of interesting and sexy. And all this is just really bad wind and rain. But they were able to find like the eye wall and these amazing kind of sunsets and things. So I don't know if we're going to come across anything like that, but we are going to be absolutely slapped around by the wind. And I would like to fly this manually from here to Lake Charles. but we'll see how tedious that gets. Right? If it's just a huge pain in the ass, maybe we'll give up on that. All right, request takeoff clearance VFR. That's us. Departure approved. That's us. Here we go. Wait. Now here we go. And we'll see if they give us a flight following and a transponder. When we get airborne, they may not. And if you didn't know this, I am kind of a hack pilot. I try to do things as realistically as possible, but a lot of my procedures and things are not, you know what I'm saying? Not by the books. Oh, look at this. 25 knot headwind, and the stall speed on this aircraft, are we, what? All right, there we go, that's better. Thought we were on the center stripe, but we're not. We got almost a 30 knot headwind, and the stall speed on this aircraft is 40 knots. So we are going to float up here just as soon as we get moving. What? I don't recall. I don't recall another aircraft. Oh God. That's some ATC they got going. All right. Flaps up. And let's turn our landing lights off. No, you know what? I'm going to leave landing lights on. Because we need all the visibility we can get in this weather. So let us get turned around here. And we are just going to non-procedure VFR directly to Lake Charles. Oh, look at this. Look at this with the white caps. Whoa, what? That's crazy. I had heard that the water did do things, and if you're into Train Sim, I guess is a good example. Either Train Simulator or Train Sim World. If you're into either one of those sims, or Truck Sim, you know the water is really kind of dead. Hang on, I think that was us. Cessna 313. Yep, that's us. They did not give us a squawk. There we go. Truck Sim is the other one. The water is really kind of flat and dead, and it certainly doesn't have that type of, you know, I did see a little, yeah, I see some glitching and texture errors between tiles on the water, but you know what? I'm okay with that. That is not the end of the world. So, but that's a fantastic effect. It really is. Very nice. And we got some lightning. Now I did see some office buildings up here in front of us, and that would be Galveston. It's probably Houston. Galveston is a pretty small town. There may be some office buildings, but I don't think there'd be like skyscrapers. So this may be, we may be seeing all the way to Houston. And if that is the case, I mean, we're at about 500 feet. I'd like to be up at 1,000 feet, although when we get to 1,000 feet, we're probably not going to be able to see a whole lot. And I do want to kind of check out the scenery between here and Lake Charles. And I haven't done a single VFR landing. I've done uncontrolled landings. Not like that. But I mean, I've done landings where I just took off, flew, and landed. No ATC. But I have not done a proper VFR landing with tower. So we'll have to see how this works out when we get to Lake Charles, how they want to handle it as far as vectoring us to a runway. We do have that ILS for, what did we say was runway 15? We do have an ILS for runway 15. So if that's the one that the wind is landing us on, if that's the runway in use, we'll take it. If not, I think we'd be better off going straight VFR on another runway than to try to do like a gnarly crosswind landing. Like, what's our wind right now? Yeah, we got a 40 knot headwind. so we are not making great time, but we'll get there. Yeah, it's cool. I mean, I've got standby. All right. Whoa, nose down. The nose down. Houston approach. Go request flight following. There we go. All right. 7364. All right, and we are all right. There's 2966, right? All right, and we are back out. I guess we're. Ooh, this is a little spooky in the clouds. I think we're right over the ship channel right now, or we're about to be turning over it. This is tricky. I mean, we're pretty much 100% on the artificial horizon right now. I can't. I mean, you can see I can't see anything out front. It's just straight up white out. So we'll just. I mean, we can go a bit lower, but I did see there were some structures in front of us, so I don't want to go too low and try to like follow highways or anything. And how are we doing? Yeah. I'm not getting a distance. Track distance. That says 81 minutes. That says 81 minutes to go 100 miles at 100 knots. That's, I mean, I'd say that's not quite accurate. Could be, though. A little over an hour, maybe. And I also want to, before we drift too far out over the Gulf, let's turn back toward our GPS heading here. I definitely don't want to fly over downtown Houston, but I do not want to be out over the Gulf. And that is definitely where the wind is a lot stronger. We're going to be on the, I guess, the northwest edge of Delta. And I would rather not be, there we go. A little bit of land out in front of us, that's better. It's reassuring. We're going to be on the northwest edge of the storm, and let me see, northern hemisphere rotation is anti-clockwise? Yeah, I think it is. So we'll see how bad the wind gets as we pass like right along the edge of it. And also we're probably not going to be able to trust our altimeter because the barometer is going to be going crazy the closer we get. All right, so far so good there. Man, the water looks really, really good. Those whitecaps look amazing, and we'll be able to, as we turn back on course here, be able to see the water. Yeah, those whitecaps look amazing. The only problem I have is the split between tiles on the water is terrible. I'll see if I can poke my head out the window here. I'm trying not to go on autopilot for level flight, but yeah, see those splits right there? See if we can see some on this side. The actual whitecap effect looks great, but there are these, you can sort of see them there. There are these really harsh lines splitting the different tiles. Yeah, can you see that? It's work in progress. It's a $120 work in progress. Nailed it. All right, so we are not quite. I mean, visibility is just the worst right now, and I don't want to go any lower. I mean, we're over water, so I guess I could go lower here. Yeah, this is not a procedural flight. And if we go here. Okay. Yep, no weather in this aircraft. I didn't think there would be. Let me get rid of this cursor. Cockpit management, doing too many things at once. Let me get down a little bit lower and see if we can pick up some better visibility. We are over water, so obviously nothing to hit. So let's try to get down to like 500 feet or so and see if visibility is any better down there. I'm hoping it is. All right. Yeah, that's a nice effect. I was really not expecting to see all that chop in the whitecaps. That's really done well. I'm not seeing that tiling here either. I wonder if that was maybe the specific altitude we were at put us right between, you know what I mean? If it was any higher, you wouldn't be able to see the tiles. If it was any lower, they can resolve properly. Is that us? Nope. But yeah, I've got no complaints about the weather. I think this looks really, really good. Oh, that was my radar altimeter warning. We're right about 500 feet. So yeah, we're not on a flight, or we are on a flight following, but we're not really restricted in what we can do. So let's go a little closer to the land over here, just so there's something to see between here and Lake Charles. And we've got, how are we doing on fuel? Yeah, plenty of fuel. Plenty of fuel. Well, for the wind being what it is, over 30 knots, for the wind being what it is, we're really not getting slapped around as badly as I expected. I feel like if we went any higher, we would. But if we go any higher, then visibility just goes total whiteout. That's not very interesting. And that is... I mean, you never want to land an airplane on the ocean. That's just frowned upon. But even less so when it looks like that. That is an angry sea, as they say. Good stuff. All right, so this is, yeah, again with the VFR map. I can't open the VFR map for fear of crashing the game until they patch that. So I can't really see where we are relative to Houston, but I want to say Houston is essentially right there at about our 11 o'clock. 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock. So we'll get along this little barrier island here and then turn east again. And this is, yeah, it looks like some beach homes there. Now, something I am curious about, and this is, I doubt this is coded into the game, but I'm curious if the weather could accurately depict storm surge. Because right now, in real life, a lot of these homes are underwater because of the storm surge coming in. So that would be, I mean, it would be accurate, but it would also be a waste of code. Because as frequently as these storms do happen, and they happen every year in the United States, it's still, I don't feel something that would be in the game often enough that you would need to waste the time coding it. All right, and I'm trying to, I don't want to fly directly up the coast. I either want to be over the water or over the land so we can have a bit of a view out the window here. There we go. This looks like it is perhaps not as detailed as some other areas, but you'd expect that. I think there's areas of higher and lower res. Yeah, it looks like waves are breaking. Again, there'd be really big waves breaking, but I don't know that they can replicate like every single bit of that. All right, for the most part, I am impressed. All right, and we are still tracking. We get a little bit of altitude here. We're down below 400 feet, so let's bump up just a little bit. And I thought we were going, I thought we were covering a lot more ground than we were. If we could open the VFR map, I believe we're just getting ready to cross over the ship channel. So I think we've Still got a ways to go. What does it say? Yeah, it's dropped down quite a bit. 60 minutes to Lake Charles. All right. Still good on fuel. Yeah, there's some technical stuff and some ticky-tack stuff with the sim that I know like the hardcore sim pilots are really not happy about. And the casual players, I think, the console players, I feel like they played the hell out of it for a month, as you do with a new title, and now they've moved on. So a lot of the feedback that you're hearing right now is people that are really, really disappointed. But I think because the only people complaining at this point, the only people really still involved with the game are those hardcore sim pilots. They're the ones with the more serious and more sort of esoteric complaints. Whereas the casual players are like, yeah, that's cool. I fly planes, it's fun. And they just sort of leave it at that. I'm in between. I mean, there are some things that are broken, but I believe they'll get fixed in time. And at the moment, they're not really deal breakers for me. If anything, that VFR map bug caused me to explore Little Nav Map, and I'm really glad that I did. Little Nav Map is fantastic, and I think it integrates with VATSIM a little better than the base game map. So in that way, having the VFR map broken guided me to something that I really prefer now. And I did think of setting up a button on Stream Deck where anytime I look at Little Nav Map, I can hit a button and it brings that up so you can see it as well. I just didn't do it yet, and I can't easily do it while I'm in stream, but I will get it done at some point so we can look at a VFR map at the same time. The guy who's doing the integration for Little Nav Map uses Navigraph, I want to say. So Navigraph downloads to Little Nav Map without, you don't have to be subscribed, but if you want to use Navigraph in Flight Sim, you do have to subscribe. So there's a kind of a disconnect right now where you've got some Navigraph stuff but not others. At the moment, there are things that are in Little Nav Map that don't show up in Flight Sim and vice versa. So if you build a flight plan in one and try to take it to the other, it does not always work. And the opposite direction as well. And things like you can set the flight up in Little Nav Map where you're in parking, right? In my case, I would be in general aviation parking. And when I load that flight plan in Flight Simulator, it starts me on the runway. And if I move now back to parking, once I've loaded that flight plan, it recreates the rest of it and erases everything that I built in Little Nav Map. So it's still needs a bit more integration, but for the most part, it's getting there. And even if you just use it as a map, don't use it for any type of flight planning at all, just use it as a map, it works great. It's certainly a lot more detailed than the VFR map, the base game VFR map, and it's got frequencies, which was a kind of a pain in the ass, that if you want to know a beacon frequency or an ILS frequency or something, you have to look it up manually because the game does not have them as FSX did, as X-Plane does. How are we doing over here? Yep. So it's a work in progress. It's all a work in progress. All right, and we're getting back up into these clouds a little bit here, so I think I might drop down just a little bit. And it almost looks like it just kind of got brighter over here. It almost looks like we're about to break through into some daylight. Yeah, it's got kind of a little pukey green daylight look there. Interesting. And then over here is the storm proper. Yeah, it looks like the sun's coming out a little bit. That's that castle right there. It's got little turrets, little crenellations. Some of this stuff, some of the the rendering that the game decides to do. I mean, we've all seen the Buckingham Palace thing, where it couldn't figure out what Buckingham Palace was, so it just made it into a cube of apartment blocks. I think it does that for a lot of things. It just doesn't know what's what, and it goes to the next best thing. It just kind of, fills something in there. And so we get some unintended consequences. But not a big deal for the most part. I think the scenery is fantastic. And people are already recreating specific areas. Somebody did Yosemite. I know there's a London Landmarks pack in-game that you can buy, but I've heard not great things about it. So, but the Yosemite pack is free, and that's very highly regarded for being sort of brand new. So, yeah, man. Not bad. I didn't realize I was waiting for this game, but after I started playing it, I was. I like X-Plane, but this is it's a lot more immersive. For all the things that it's missing and all the sort of problems that it has, it is extremely immersive. All right, and I think, yeah, we're sort of trending back toward our GPS course. I'd say we're about a mile or two from it, but we're kind of trending back toward it. Like if we continue flying straight, we're going to intersect that GPS course. There's some people driving, nope, not quite into the ocean. Oh, that is a little bit low. That's didn't want to go quite that low. Let's gain some altitude. Here we go. So we'll cross back over our GPS course, and we can continue taking that further in. And we for this nice steady headwind that we've got, performance is a little bit I don't know. Plane feels kind of dead. But let's get back up to about 500 feet. Give ourselves just the tiniest bit of cushion if we had to go land in an alfalfa field or something. Rain effect looks good on the windows. I'm sold. That's convincing. I can't really see what it looks like where it's like directly hitting the windshield. That's kind of whited out. But what I'm seeing on the sides looks nice. The King Air has wipers. I think, yeah, that's the only... I've been flying mostly GA aircraft, and the King Air is the only one I've flown that has wipers. They don't really, as far as I can tell, they don't really do a lot. And you don't have to be going too fast for all the rain to really blow up and over the windscreen anyway, so I don't know exactly what those wipers are for. Like, I don't really know when you would use them, but oh god, it's getting worse. It's getting worse. We're still at 400 feet, and visibility down to those houses there has dropped off, and it looks like we're about to fly into almost some white out here. So we're going back to the artificial horizon. We're just going to have to hope for the best here. Yeah, we may white out at some point. So I'm going to try to get us back up to 500 feet. I'm going to point us back toward our GPS course, or at least point us back toward an intercept with our GPS course. And we may not be able to see a whole lot as far as view out the window between here and Lake Charles. Yeah, it's getting kind of grim out there. We started on the northwest edge of the storm, and we're passing through more or less the north center part of it right now. It's not terrible. Still got a 35 knot headwind, but we're, the aircraft is responding. A little bit sluggish, but it is responding. And we'll pick up this GPS course. And we've got, let me see if I can look over here, a little under an hour to Lake Charles. present speed and heading. All right. Yeah, we get these patches where it seems like it's about to get a little bit lighter, and then it clouds up again and kind of whites out. Oh dear. Yep. Yeah, we're not that much further from the coast than we were, but it's really hard to pick it out. It's just barely visible over there. So we do have GPS, and we do have these fantastic instruments, but I would really sort of prefer that we keep the coastline in sight, just in case we did lose power or something and lose that GPS bug, you know, that we would still be able to find our way over there. All right, that's starting to porpoise a little bit. Yeah, headwind is getting a bit trickier, maybe. I don't know. It feels like we're trying to buck up and down quite a bit. All right. So there's the coast again. And seeing these whitecaps makes me want to fly over rough water all the time now. That's so much more interesting than just plain flat water. A little bit disappointed about the waves. I would expect to see some big waves breaking, but maybe that just takes a ton of processing power. And right, because this you could do with just have a square tile of whitecaps represented and then repeat it. But I think waves you might have to, like, I don't know, procedurally generate those like clouds or something. I don't know, but for whatever reason. All right, that's us. 133.4 for Cessna 313. Houston Center, and I am practicing my VAT sim. So that would be Houston Center, Cessna 313 at 500 feet.
Houston Center, Cessna November 1313, 500 feet. Cessna November 1313, Houston Center, continuous climb. Altimeter 29.67.
All right. Get rid of this cursor. And for some reason, the track IR is kind of bumping us forward and back. Even when I don't move forward or back, it's got kind of a, I don't know, something. I wouldn't say it's bugging out, but it's acting up a little bit. All right, so I'm going to descend just a little bit, get us back around 500 feet so we can see a little better. And then at some point, our GPS track that we're going to intercept is going to take us over land, so we'll just continue that way. And I don't think there's a lot of tall buildings between where we are and Lake Charles, so we should be able to make it at 500 feet. We should be able to get by. I don't think we'd need to, like if we were flying across, you know, downtown Houston or someplace, I'd want to be at like 1,500 feet because there are skyscrapers there, but there's nothing out in the woods. There might be, I don't know, oil derricks or power pylons or something, but nothing that would be over 500 feet. And it looks a little bit clearer through here. Visibility's a little bit better, but we're going to fly right back into it. If anything, it's worse right there. And it looks like just about whiteout right in front of us. And fuel is still good. Fuel is good. Okay. and temperature is looks like about 70 Fahrenheit, so no worries about icing. And even if ATC does want to bump us up to 2,500 feet or 3,000 feet or something to get us into a pattern, so we're going to be 133.8 for Cessna 313. All right, and then Houston Center, Cessna 313, 700 feet.
Houston Center, Cessna November 1313, 700 feet.
Cessna November 1313, Houston Center, continue as planned. Altimeter 29.67.
You got it. All right, so we'll get rid of that, get rid of our cursor. And this is, I wouldn't say this is like the worst one yet, but this looks like some pretty gnarly whiteout we're about to get into. So again, we'll just rely on this glass panel here, rely on this artificial horizon to get us to the other side of it. And we've got still about 50 minutes. I feel like we're not making a lot of headway for 100 knots of airspeed. I feel like we're really not making a lot of progress. Oh, there we go. Our ground speed is only about 70 knots. So there's your problem. But we've got about 60 miles to go. So let's drop down a little bit. And we're still, headwind is up to over 40 knots now. So we'll be mindful of that. And it's starting to rain again. Just realized we hadn't had any rain for a minute. But, yeah, okay. Yeah, I feel like this is about our sweet spot right here. Is 500 feet just off the coast. Now, if we did have an engine failure right here, yeah, I mean, we could make the beach. That'd be no problem. And as far as what that landing would look like, I mean, I guess we could just replicate it right now. Just turn the engine off and try to do it. Nah, I don't want to do that, because then if it's a disaster, where do we start from? I'd rather fly to Lake Charles. But yeah, I think we could make the beach. Maybe. I don't know. It's a pretty gnarly headwind. Alright, a little bit more whiteout to fly into here. But GPS is about to take us back over land. So this will be our last chance to see the whitecaps here. Alright. So VFR procedure, I guess at some point I'll just request KLCH from ATC and they'll give us vectors. I don't know. We'll find out when we get closer. And we've got, yep. All right. Yeah, that little jump from front to back, I don't know why Track IR is doing that. I mean, I can reset it. Hang on, let me try that. There we go. See if that makes any difference. All right. Oh, this is, yep. I wouldn't say it's complete whiteout, but I really can't see anything out the front. And we can track the coastline to the side, but that's getting pretty dim as well. Okay, we'll just trust the instruments here. And headwind is down to 33 knots, down from, I think the worst it was about 45 knots, so it's a little better. All right, and we are going to pass over the coastline now. GPS is taking us inland, so this will be the end of having that visual reference point. All right. And still good on fuel, still good on T&P. And our runway heading, if we fly ILS into Lake Charles, our runway heading is 150. So we'll see if we can get that runway, and then if not, like I said, we'll just go VFR based on wherever the tower thinks is our best option for landing in this wind. Just over 30 knots now. Not terrible. All right, there goes the coast. Yeah. Houston approach. All right, so we want 121.3 for Cessna 313. All right, and then we're going to say Houston approach Cessna 313, 600 feet.
Houston approach Cessna November 1313, 600 feet.
Cessna November 1313, Houston approach. Continue as planned. Altimeter 29.70.
All right. And we got a little bit of visibility here. Let me get rid of that cursor. A little bit of visibility here. And we're, yep, drifted off our GPS track. We can fix that. And we've got about 55 miles to go. Interesting. Okay. Headwind picked up as soon as we got over land. I don't know if that has anything to do with crossing over the coast, but we're at over 40 knots again. And we're up at 1,000 feet. That might have something to do with it too. Might be getting windier as we go higher. So let's try to get back to 500 feet or thereabouts. See if we lose any of that headwind. Oh. All right. All right, that's a little better. All right, well, I mean, not quite the same visual reference we had going up the coast, but we can still sort of see it out there. It is going to get further and further away from us, and it looks like we're headed back into the clouds here. Yeah, headwind seems, well, no, I take that back. I thought the headwind might be a little bit better at 500 feet, but it's still just about 40 knots. I don't know if we're moving into some different weather here, or if it's because we're over land now instead of water. Unknown. And it looks like, I can't 100% tell, but it looks like the white caps are like going in the right direction. And I think I read something about you can see grass blowing, you can see trees moving, you can see a lot of like visual cues in the world to give you an indication of what direction the wind is blowing and how hard it's blowing, which is something pilots use in real life. So I guess that would make sense that the white caps are forming in the proper direction. Details, man. Lots of details in this game. All right. So we're down into the 30s now for our ETA. Just over 30 minutes. And I think, yeah, I'm trying to do some geometry in my head here, and if we're just north of east and we have a headwind, then if we wanted to land on the 1.5, we would have like a 30 plus knot crosswind. So I'm guessing we're going to want to land on a different runway when we get there. Ideally directly into that wind, but certainly not a crosswind. I mean, tailwind. Maybe. This plane lands slowly enough we could probably get it down, but would blow you halfway down the runway. As long as we don't have a crosswind. So let us gain a little bit of altitude here. I don't want to be quite this low. I'd really rather be at 1,000 feet, but if we were, you wouldn't be able to see anything. It would just be all white. I wouldn't be able to see anything either. I mean, even the difference between 300 and 400 is pretty gray. We'll try to split the difference here. And now when we're VFR, I guess I could have checked this before we took off, but when we're VFR, I don't know if we have any kind of flight plan at all. So I don't know if we've got a VFR flight plan to Lake Charles, or if there's just no flight plan at all and we can do whatever we want when we get there. We'll just have to try to find a tower, request a runway or something, because as it is right now, well, no, we do have an airport list. Okay, so as we get closer, we'll open that airport list. I mean, why not do it right now? Hang on. So if we go here, hang on, I'm going to very carefully come over here, and we want Lake Charles, further from you. Much further from you. Further from you. I know we're getting awfully low. There we go. That's us. All right. I don't think we can tune that tower yet because we're still almost 50 miles out. I don't think we can tune that tower yet, but we will tune that tower when we get about 20 miles out. It is supposed to be real-time weather, and it is real-time weather. As far as I know, when you go to the big map, whoa, that's a little low. When you go to the big map, when you're planning your flight, there is, I mean, you can see a hurricane over the Gulf. So, as far as I know, this is completely accurate weather. Chambers County. All right, where is that? We're flying from Galveston to Lake Charles. Okay. Yeah, we're about halfway between the island and Lake Charles right now. Is this weather what it's doing in real life? Interesting. Okay. And we've got rain visibility, I think, is less than a mile, and we've got about a 40 knot wind, 30 to 40 knot wind. Yeah, it's not that gnarly. I flew from Geneva to Innsbruck the other day, and going over the Alps was a lot worse than this. It was just clear. So it could be that it's not 100% accurate. It could be it's just, I don't know, like you said, hard to tell. But the plane's not getting banged around too badly. Oh, that's no good. Don't do that. All right. You getting bad gusts right now? How bad are the gusts? Do you have a speed on them? I'd really like 500 feet. Come on. There's a little gap in the clouds right there. Yeah, it's I'd say we're maybe starting to get some wind shear. I mean, there's times when the airspeed just drops away, and there's really no way to get the aircraft to respond. So we might be getting some wind shear. Well, I say that. I don't even know if that's part of the game, but it certainly feels like it's getting more and more erratic as we get further and further in here. And there's no possibility of icing. We're at 500 feet and it's 70 degrees outside, so I know there's no icing. And as far as like power, our mix, rich to lean, that sort of thing, again at 500 feet sea level, I mean there's the ocean right there. It's not that either, so it's got to be the wind. All right. So yeah, we just flew through that little squall right there. It seems to have calmed down a bit. I say that, and just as I do, it gets bumpy again. All right. Yeah, 500 is working for the visibility, but I would prefer 1,000 just to have that cushion. And still good on fuel. Temperatures and pressure still good. And we've got a little over 40 miles and a little over 30 minutes to go. Okay.
500.
All right, we're further inland now, but it seems like there are a lot less whitecaps on this water we're crossing over. I don't know if that's because the wind is slower here, or if it's more protected, right? That it's got some land and some trees around it. Unknown. And we don't, when we do get to Lake Charles, I don't have we don't have landing gear to drop, and I did leave the landing lights on, so we're more or less already rigged to land, so we can focus on that and not really have to prep the aircraft a whole lot. We can just put it down as quickly and as safely as possible. All right. 30 minutes and we're 39 miles out. So yeah, I want to wait till about 25 miles out and we'll contact Lake Charles and get some instructions, see where they want to put us. I'm not going to mess with ILS. We don't need to. We're low enough. And I'd rather fly the whole landing manually anyway. Oh, I don't know if you can hear that. I can hear the wind like over the engine. And that. All right, I'll take it. So we are going GPS. I've seen some people flying VFR, like landmark to landmark, and I don't know that that would be, well, I don't know that it would even be possible in this weather, but if it was possible, I don't know that it would be smart, right? Because landmarks are, I mean, if you fly into a whiteout, if you fly into a cloud, down low, you're going to miss your landmark. So I feel like the only way to do this VFR is with GPS. I mean, I guess you could go even lower than this and try to do it at, you know, just a couple hundred feet, landmark to landmark, but at that point you've got to know the area, I think, and just know where you're going, or maybe follow a highway or something, because this is dicey enough with the GPS to follow, with the visibility being so bad. Yeah, we're about to white out again here. All right, how far do we got? All right, a little over 30 miles. We're into the 20-minute range now. So we're chipping away at it. I mean, we will get there. It's just the difference between our airspeed and our ground speed. Yeah, we're at 120 knots airspeed and 80 knots on the ground. So that's that 40 knot headwind. Yep, that all the math works out. We're just paddling upstream here. All right, try to get back down to 500 feet. There's 500. Perfect. And I don't want to pause to look at the map for Lake Charles, but it's a it's a regional airport. It's decent size, so I'm guessing the runway is going to be long enough that we can do a flaps up landing and just take our time with it. I don't know that we want to, like I said, get too fancy with this wind. All right. So we might just do it that way. Just go flaps up and fly all the way down the runway. Let it touch down where it wants to. All right. And back down here. Yep, starting to rain again. Still good on fuel. Temperatures and pressures still good.
500.
Not quite that low. There we go. Yeah, it felt like a little bit of shear right there because we dropped a couple hundred feet in just a few seconds. That's why I would really rather be at 1,000 feet, but if we went to 1,000, wouldn't be able to see anything. All right, and there's it's about 30 miles. Well, the weather's opening up here. I mean, a little bit, relatively. You can at least sort of catch our breath a little bit. And we're still almost 40 knots for that headwind. And it did just feel like the wind just turned by like 45 degrees. That's a little bit unnerving. I don't know exactly what that means. Nothing good. Try to get down a little bit here before we fly into this next. Well, it's not really a cloud, but till we white out again here. All right, and that's 20 minutes, so we're 28 miles out. Yeah, let's wait till we're 25 miles out. We'll contact Lake Charles, see where they want to put us. I'm glad we went heavy on fuel. I don't think we'll need all of it, but it's nice to have it just the same. We're using a ton of it. For a 100-mile flight, we're going to use a lot more than 100 miles worth of fuel just from this headwind. All right. Yeah, I feel like that we continue to get blown to the northwest, get blown off course. Turn around here. Yeah, the wind is really starting to sort of flip around quite a bit. It's going to make landing fun. All right. So that is just about 25 miles and just about 20 minutes to Lake Charles. So let's wake them up and see what they want to do. All right, I got to carefully do this with my other hand. Get the radio open. Like so. All right, here we go.
Lake Charles Tower, Cessna November 1313 is 27 miles southwest of Indiana to land.
Cessna November 1313 Lake Charles Tower. Remain straight in runway 5. Altimeter 29.71 with 0 line at 38.
Straight in runway 5. Okay, well that would make sense. So,
Fly straight in runway 5 Cessna 313.
whoa. All right. So we don't need airport direction. We've got that on the GPS. We do need to unclick there, unclick there. All right. So we can just continue on this GPS course, and that makes sense. I mean, if the wind is out of 54 degrees, of course they're going to put us on runway 5. So that is just about as straight in as you can get. We'll skip the ILS, we'll skip runway 15, and we'll just go straight into runway 5. And as far as finding it and visibility, we'll just deal with that as we get closer, and if we miss it, we'll do a go around, missed approach, whatever. Just circle back and hit it again. No ILS on runway 5, so it's got to be VFR. Okay. Yeah, this is not. I don't think anything in this flight is going to be like official piloting stuff. I try to be realistic, but sometimes we just wing it. Wing it. Shit. I didn't do that on purpose. All right. So 23 miles, and we got about 15 minutes. Okay. So yeah, we should see the airport about another 10 minutes, and then we'll just fly straight in. All right. You know, I don't want to go too awful high, but I feel like visibility is a little bit better here, so maybe we could go 750 instead of 500, somewhere right in there. All right. It's not raining. Oh, and as I say that, it starts raining. And yeah, the wind continues. It hasn't stopped since we left Galveston, but it's between 30 and about 45 knots, and we're just flying straight into it. I'm glad we went this way instead of the other way. We would have made a lot better time, but we would have to flip around. And we took off from Galveston. We took off, I want to say, runway 36. Yeah, so we took off with a crosswind, but then immediately made our turn east, and it's just been headwind ever since. All right, let's get down a little bit here. All right, so there's 20 miles. Yeah, with this visibility, we're just going to need to stay on the GPS heading and try to spot this runway at the last possible minute. And we keep climbing here. That's that headwind. There we go. It's a little better. All right, a little over 10 minutes. You turn back on 50 here. There we go. Okay. There. And of course visibility is dropping. Closer we get to the airport, the harder it is to see. Fantastic. So 10 minutes. So this FLIR panel in the glass cockpit, I don't know how accurate this is. I mean, the whole sim is supposed to be accurate. So I think this FLIR panel is like a real thing. But what this means is regardless of visibility, like out the window, regardless of that, we can just look down here and spot the runway that way. That was a 500-foot call out, was it not? Yeah, it was. Okay. Get rid of that. 15 miles. And I think at this point, let's go ahead and go to 1,000 feet. We're not really going to be able to see a whole lot, but I feel like that'll give us at least a, it's not going to be a proper approach. We're just basically going to fly the runway heading and stuff it in there. But let's at least get some altitude and try to have some kind of a glide slope on the way in. All right. These gusts, man. I'm just watching airspeed and the variometer, and it's all right. It's a little tricky. All right. So we're just slightly nose up, almost full power, 100 knots, and not really climbing. Interesting. All right. And the same headwind? Yeah. 30 to 40 knot headwind. Okay. All right. And we are, yeah, essentially zero visibility now. All right. I've never flown VFR with zero visibility. We'll just have to trust the runway heading and trust the callouts. We are at 1,000 feet though, so hopefully that'll give us more of a top-down view when we try to spot the runway. All right, there's 10 minutes, 13 miles. Yeah, it's really not responding as well as it was when we left Galveston. It's not super crisp. You know, I feel like when we left Galveston, the aircraft was responding really, it just felt really accurate, and now it really doesn't. All right. It's a little high. It's 1,200 feet. It's higher than I want to be, but we're still tracking the runway heading, and we're at just under 12 miles. All right, so we may be able to see the runway soon in the glass cockpit. I don't think that's it. Also, I don't know how big it is. I mean, it's a regional airport, so it's not small, but I don't know that it's necessarily big either. And we've got yep, that's something else. Okay. Trying to level off here, but it's just keeps wanting us to climb unless we really pitch the nose down. All right, so there's 10 miles. Fly straight in, runway 5. Okay, that's what we're gonna do. So I think at this point we're gonna head a little bit east of the runway heading, and then we'll turn when we intersect it. All right, and yeah, there's no point looking out the window. There's really nothing to see out there. All right, that's 9 miles. Still, yep, not seeing it yet. getting slapped all over now. All right, it's coming up on 8 miles. Just broke out of the clouds, that's nice. All right, there's 8 miles. Still not seeing it. Seven miles. Yeah, visibility just dropped to 0 again. All right. I think that might be it right there. Maybe. Yeah, 6 miles. They're going to clear us momentarily. All right, I believe that's it right there. Yep. All right, here we go. Yep, I think that's it. All right.
Clear to land runway 5 Cessna Tree 1 tree.
Get rid of that. I mean, I'm assuming that's it. We are starting to come out of the clouds again. It's 3 miles. Here we go. Traffic off to the right. Can't worry about that right now. Yep, that's it. I think this would be instrument flight conditions. Is that it right there? I think this would be instrument flight conditions, and so therefore we would not be flying this landing. I thought I saw it there just for a second. There's a runway. I mean, I don't know if this is... I don't know if this is 5, but... yep, this is... oh god. This is so dicey. What I'm looking at is slightly different than... oh, no. Yeah, nice long runway. And we're just gonna fly all the way down it. Great time for frame rate to tank. Ooh. Okay. The stress. All right. And I'm going to call it right there. Yeah, let's at least get off the runway here. But I'm not going to taxi to parking or anything. Jesus, the stress. Wow. As we got closer, I thought for some reason they were putting us on 5 left. And I was trying to figure out, like, could Lake Charles Regional Airport have 5 left and have 5 right? But it turns out we were just, like, kicked way over because of the wind. All right, well, that worked. I don't crash anything. I don't even spill my coffee when I land, K9. All right. I'm going to call it right there. Let's get stopped here. Oh my goodness. All right. Let's put some brakes on. Brakes are on. Let's go third person. Oh, I copied all right. There you go. Thanks, everybody. See you next time. Take care.